gone and started an excavation out there, and then they stopped. Yeah, so something must have happened.
You're right.
Something's going on out there.
Funny rock.
Yeah. Uh-oh, the phone says 7.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 11th, 2025 Planning Board meeting. And let's start with the pledge, please. Just a few announcements. There are emergency exits in the room on your left and right. Restrooms are out the door to the back on the left. And if you've not had a chance to, please sign in on the attendance sheets, whether you're a presenter or a member of the public observing. There are business cards on the back table next to that sign-in sheet with contact information and emails and phone number for the planning department. Also on the back table are copies of resolutions that we'll be reading tonight, along with the agenda. Please silence your cell phones. They can be a distraction for those presenting before the board. And also, please take any conversations you have outside of the discussions here, out in the back of the room, in the hallway. Thank you. Any meeting minutes?
So I have 4 minutes that I have for you guys to approve. I'm going to give you 2 this week
Okay.
and then 2 next week, not to overwhelm you guys. So I got caught up, but yeah, so just look for your emails.
Okay. We'll deal with those next meeting.
Okay.
Thanks, Lisa. Correspondence received. Karen Bodine for the Mason Pole Barn. Boards and committee updates. Dave Condon is not here. Do you have a board update for the town board? Okay, no updates from the town board, but thanks for being here. Keith, upcoming agenda.
Keith Maynard, project manager for the town of Victor. So your next planning board meeting is Tuesday, February 25th at 7 p.m. Public hearings are, the first one's Elliott Pole Barn, which is 6415 Bortle Road. Applicant is requesting approval to construct a 60 by 40 pole barn on a 4.27 acre parcel. Second public hearing is Four Winds Chimney site plan modification, which is to modify an existing building at 770 Canning Parkway. Applicant is requesting approval to install overhead doors on the east building face, an additional parking installation along the east wall of the building to allow employees to load vans and trailers with necessary materials. Third public hearing is LSI Loop Driveway and Lot Adjustment, 7796 State Route 251. Applicant is requesting approval to connect the eastern and westernmost driveways with a 1,400-foot driveway to provide access to the vacant areas of the property. The applicant is also requesting to combine 2 adjacent parcels into one single parcel as part of this application. Last one, the Element by Weston Eastview Mall will be back. It's the hotel at 100 to 1020 Eastview Mall Drive. Preliminary application for the Nikoloff subdivision on Blasey Road. The applicant is requesting approval to develop 42.4 acres into 8 lots with driveways coming off of Blasey Road. This is the second step in their major subdivision process. The sketch plan was acknowledged complete on August 27th. And last but not least, we believe that Bluestone Trail is coming back, formerly 7200 Rawson Road. At 7200 Rawson Road, applicant is requesting preliminary approval to develop a 59 for-sale townhome unit subdivision on 18.5 acres. Project will consist of 2 private drives off the north side of Rawson Road. This will be the second step in their 3-step process for a major subdivision. The sketch plan for that one was acknowledged complete on April 9th. Any questions on any of that?
Great, thanks,
Okay,
Keith.
thanks, everybody.
I have a question.
Oh, Kenny has something.
Isn't there a town board meeting the day before?
The town board meeting is moved to Wednesday, February 26th,
Oh, okay.
that week, yeah.
Because usually if they have a Monday meeting and there's a holiday, everything gets pushed to.
Yeah, I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think multiple board members are going to be out of town, including the town supervisor on Monday, so you guys will be Tuesday night,
Okay.
the 25th, and they'll be Wednesday night, the 26th at
Thanks,
7.
Keith.
Yep.
Okay, we have 3 items remaining on the agenda tonight. The last 2, the Element by Weston and the Nickloff subdivision, have been removed until the next meeting, as Keith alluded to in his talk. So the first one up this evening is a sketch plan application amended for the Aldrich Road subdivision. The applicant's requesting acknowledgement of a complete application to develop 3 single-family homes on 10.29-acre parcel. This is the first step of a major subdivision, and only acknowledgement of a completed application will be considered at this meeting. Good evening.
Good afternoon, Nick Graziosi and
Ian Cookman with McMahon LaRue Associates. Yeah, so this is our 3rd time before the board for sketch plan application, and we've revised it since the last time we were here, coming off the 5 duplexes and proposing the originally planned 3-lot single-family dwellings as originally proposed, as I mentioned. So this is the sketch plan that we've sent in. Access off of County Road 9 at the current location where the turnoff is, and proposed for Sunset Manor as well. And we're showing turning radius in conformance with fire marshal review, and we have also received code enforcement comments as well. We issued a response to both the fire marshal and the code enforcement officer in the review, and we feel that we'll be able to address a lot of those comments that were made. We also received items from the town engineer's review from a wetland standpoint, and we're willing to discuss that, maybe take the opportunity here tonight to discuss the implications of that and potential remedy to make sure that we're all above board and addressing everyone's needs, both the town and the state DEC. Any questions from the board at this moment?
First of all, I appreciate your coming back with the 3 site plan, 3 individual house plots that we had asked for to conform to the previous applications renderings. So that was definitely appreciated. There are some engineering comments that I'm sure we'll get into. I guess regarding the layout itself and the driveway, I'll open it to the board for the moment for any comments, then we can have Wes address wetlands, for instance, and other issues that are part of this application. So, Joe, any comments or questions?
Not at this time, no.
No?
Just I echo your comments that I think it was a good faith effort to come back with something a bit more aligned to the original site plan.
Okay, great. Pat?
I'm curious about the wetlands, and I'm aware of that regulation and the 90 days that DEC has to make a determination on that. Do you think it's wise to proceed much further until you hear back from them at this point, or what's your thinking on that?
Well, maybe the town engineer can provide a little bit more commentary to the letter. It says that.
Ian, I'd be happy to, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the memo that we issued today, February 11th, just outlines in a very, very rough way what the updated New York State DEC wetland regulations cover. So beginning in January 1st, 2025, the updated wetland regulations came into effect. And so basically, previous to that date, we could go onto the DEC's environmental resource mapper. We could find DEC wetlands. Generally, they're 12.4 acres in size or larger. So now what these updated regulations, they've identified these characteristics that are unusual important characteristics. There are 11 of them, they're listed in this memo, and it's, the Department of Environmental Conservation is the entity that determines whether or not a parcel contains any of those particular unusual, important characteristics. So what happens is an applicant, a developer would submit their parcel to New York State DEC via their online submission portal. It's very minimal effort that's required to submit for a parcel jurisdiction. And then if the DEC comes back and says, well, yep, we've got jurisdictional wetlands here because X, Y, Z, they would require that a wetland delineation be done and submitted to them, or my understanding is that they'll actually do the delineation themselves, although I don't know about the timing, how soon they would be able to do their own delineation on the parcel. And they have another 90 days to respond to that. So one of my recommendations might be to, as a developer, because there is a wetland complex there on the property, and we are adjacent to what's known as an urban area, it would be to do that consultation ASAP and see if you can get feedback from them prior to submission of your preliminary subdivision application, just in the sense, in case they might provide some feedback that's going to impact the design of the project. That's just a recommendation, right? I guess it's probably within your right to file a preliminary subdivision application, should you get to that point, without doing that, but the planning board's not going to take that application along in the seeker process. They're not going to make any determination of significance until, DEC is been consulted.
Yeah, we'll submit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy process to do that, to at least submit the form and have them begin that 90-day clock. But I was wondering if the town engineer could elaborate a little bit more on this paragraph here where it says where a property owner has commenced or plans to commence a project on a parcel that did not require a freshwater wetland permit prior to January 1st.
Yeah, basically that means if it didn't require a freshwater wetlands permit, and if the project also does not have by December 31st a neg deck or a final environmental impact statement that's been accepted by the lead agency, then you've got to submit to DEC.
Now,
And
would
you are
this
su-
project fall under a previous neg deck or no impact determination because it was part of some other subdivision preliminary overall, which kind of forced us into this 3-lot configuration that we're presenting today?
Yeah, so the previous project that was seekerized did not anticipate and include the development of this area.
Okay.
So that's why the previous neg deck does not cover this particular instance.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep.
Anything else, Scott?
No, that was it.
Okay, Ernie, comments? Okay. I guess one of the things about this application, because it ties into the next subdivision south,
Yeah.
and so that means some form of access has to be common, and you've shown, I'm assuming this is a private road?
Yes,
that
this will
you're
be a
classifying this as?
Yeah, private road up until the property line where it turns into Sunset Manor.
Okay, and so Sunset Manor will be private driveway? I think they had
But
a,
whatever they had originally
Yeah.
approved, I'm not sure what they had.
yeah, I believe, right, Wes, it was a private driveway?
Yeah, I think it's a common driveway.
Mhm.
My understanding is that the Sunset Manor subdivision was afforded a waiver to allow the existing lots all access a single common driveway.
5 lots where normally we'd max out at 3, I think, for a private driveway?
Yep.
Yeah, so we certainly don't want to expand that and have it a private driveway, at least that's my opinion. And so private road, then you'd be, I don't know how much you've coordinated with Mauro Parladori, who's here, regarding the driveway, utilities, things like that on your site versus the adjacent?
We did some early on coordination, but we haven't recently, after we made this change.
Okay.
We didn't see a point until we got some feedback.
All right. Well, we certainly can have those conversations once we get into the preliminary plan stage, I think. Wes, anything else we would want to address before
Well, I don't
moving this forward?
know that there's anything else that needs to be addressed as part of the sketch plan. I think there are going to be some hurdles that you've got to cross and that you're going to have as challenges going through the preliminary subdivision application. I think there's still probably some opportunity for the planning board to weigh in on the driveway/private road configuration. And I guess my sense is that even if the planning board today decides, okay, your sketch plan is complete, I don't think that affords you any assurances that, you know, the project is going to be approved going forward, or it's going to be approved as depicted, right, in sketch. There's opportunity, I think you recognize that as well, that there's probably some opportunity for some modifications.
Yeah, we'll work with the board to come up with the best solution possible.
Okay, you guys all set? Wes, anything else, comments or otherwise?
Just that, and it's referenced in our letter, in a draft resolution that the planning board has in front of them that they'll be considering tonight. Just keep in mind some of the comments that Labella had made in our September letter when you assemble your preliminary application, if you go that route. That's it.
Okay. Unless the board has any other questions for the applicant, it's just a sketch plan, it's just a resolution for complete sketch plan application, so certainly as Wes indicated, it's not an approval or an endorsement of preliminary plans, but we'll get to that in due time, so I will then read this. So for the Aldrich subdivision sketch plan application 08SK 2024, whereas planning board made the following findings of fact. There are 9 of them. Now therefore be resolved that regarding the sketch plan application of Nick Grazios, major subdivision entitled Aldridge Road Subdivision, drawn by McMahon LaRue Associates, dated August 2024, received planning board August 20th, 2024, last revised January 2025, which is what was up on the screen previously, not the 5 buildings that are there now. Acknowledges receipt of a complete sketch plan application. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary forward a copy of this resolution to the applicant. There, motion for approval?
I'll move.
Al moves.
Second.
Ernie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass 5-0. Sketch plan application is approved.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing for a special use permit, Winsman Rental Special Use. Breakaday Road, owner Scott Winsman. Applicant's requesting approval for a 3-year renewal for a short-term rental at 6562 Breakaday, 3-bedroom, 1,600 square foot home with a primary residence at 6562 Breakaday Road. And saw this last year. The application, the applicant's looking for a 3-year term now, and has provided some backup regarding the performance of the rental unit and conformance of what's required. Applicant's not here. Okay. I guess we can have a quick conversation about it. Have you had a chance to look at the correspondence regarding the fact that, you know, they've gotten good reviews online for, basically a short-term rental unit that people have been enjoying, and there's been no problems from residents, adjacent owners, et cetera, regarding the performance of it, and the existing property manager is actually living on site, and it's the same person that was here last year and continues to be. So Anyone have any objections to, I guess, moving this along and granting a 3-year extension of this?
No objection at
No
all.
objection.
Okay.
Seemed like the code enforcement officer said it was okay the way he was doing it.
I think there was one requirement in there regarding the fire department's request to do an annual review of the site, just to make sure it remains in conformance with the fire department, with code. But, and I don't know if this ended up on here. Oh, on the conditions? Okay. But that's the only thing I saw, and I think otherwise it's fine. So, all right, with that, if you guys are okay, I'll just move this forward. A Winseman short-term rental application, was that? Oh, yeah. Public hearing, I need to close. Thank you, Lisa.
I'll move.
Al moves.
Second.
And second, Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Now with that, the application, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 8 of them. Now therefore be resolved that the application of Scott Winseman for a special use permit is received by the planning board January 28th, 2025. Planning board application 1SU 2025 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to chairman's signature on the site plan, that no final signatures will be given on the plans until all legal and engineering fees have been paid for fee reimbursement, local law adopted November 25th, 1996. Number 2, comments from the code enforcement officer dated January 31st, 2025 be addressed. And I believe that included the fire marshal's request. Maybe that was from codes addressing that. Okay, ongoing conditions. That an annual certification be submitted to the planning and building department naming the agent of the property. So they would need to confirm that the agent living on the property is still there and occupying the residence. And that annual fire inspection be submitted to the planning and building department. Number 3, special use permit approval will be rescinded within 10 days of the filing of a formal complaint to the code enforcement officer if said complaint is not resolved within that 10-day period. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. Any other comments or concerns before we?
I did not know if the 10-day was what you wanted, or you wanted to extend it longer.
That sounds good to me.
I'm fine with 10 days. So on that, do I hear a motion for approval?
I'll move it.
Scott moves.
Second.
Ernie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0, so it's a 3-year extension with annual fire inspections. Okay. Okay, last item is a site plan, Mason Pole Barn, 250 Blazy Road, owner James Mason. Applicants requesting approval to construct a 2,200 square foot pole barn for personal use. There's some detail, but we'll go through it. Good evening.
Good evening, Brian Marks of Marks Engineering here with Mr. Mason. Presenting the project, the application is for a 30 by 40 pole barn with a 10-foot lean-to on the south side. The pole barn's going to go right at the end of the driveway. It's going to be used for personal storage / extra garage space. The driveway will be widened a little bit to accommodate the entrance into the barn, and the grading will be graded around the barn so it has positive drainage away from the barn. Barn will only have an electrical utility, and there's the picture of the site plan there. So, pretty straightforward application.
Any questions for the applicant? Ernie, is that your end? Any questions? Or if you want to wait, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, why don't you wait, come back.
All right.
Gotta get the map up here.
Everybody a chance to look at their plan. Other end of the table, Joe?
Sure. The only thing, well, 2 questions. What color is it going to be?
We haven't picked a color yet.
Why don't you step up to the mic?
We haven't picked a color yet. It's, it'll be, some muted color. We're about to get new siding, and we haven't picked the siding yet, but we're aiming to match the siding with the barn.
Is it going to be a poured floor?
Yes.
Okay. Al? All right. Scott?
I think it's straightforward. I don't see any issues here.
Okay. Are you ready?
I have the same comments as Scott.
Yeah, okay. Pretty benign, straightforward application, certainly not a problem for me. Well, almost. Wes, comments?
We did issue a letter dated February 3rd from Kate Powers at our office. There's a couple of very minor comments. Is there any lighting, exterior lighting that you're aware of that would be installed?
We haven't thought about it, but,
Okay.
I mean, if we put anything on, it'll be just like a driveway light, you know, like at the peak, like not any kind of, arc lamp or anything like that. I don't like bright lights.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Okay. If you can with the lighting, direct it downwards
Yes.
rather than having it broadcast out. We kind of like the dark sky compliant approach to things. It's not strictly applied in your case probably, but certainly would
There's a
appreciate it.
telescope on our porch right now.
Okay.
I don't.
That's a good idea. We did get, Lisa got an email from Karen Bodine. She said they're unable to attend the meeting and would like to submit a comment in favor of the request of the pole barn. We're happy to have the Masons construct a pole barn on their property. They've done a nice job with all their updates to the property and are good neighbors, so rousing endorsement from your neighbors. Other than that, this is a public hearing, I believe, so if there's anyone here that would have a comment or a question for the applicant. Okay, hearing that and none, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move.
Al moves. And Ernie seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0. Other than that, and Wes, I don't think you had any other thoughts or comments for this? I'm all set to advance this resolution. Okay, thank you. So for the Mason Pole Barn on 250 Blazy Road, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 6 of them, with Labella's comments referenced in number 6. Now therefore be it resolved that the application of James Mason, site plan entitled Mason Pole Barn, received by the planning board January 21st, 2025, be approved with the following conditions. Conditions addressed prior to the chairman's signature on the site plan. Number 1 is standard. Number 2, the comments from the code enforcement officer dated January 30th, 2025 be addressed. Number 3, comments from Labella Associates dated February 3rd, 2025 be addressed. Number 4, that any exterior lighting be compliant to code and approved by the code enforcement officer. Ongoing conditions, both of them are standard, and be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. On this resolution, unedited, unaltered, do I hear a motion for approval?
I'll move.
Ernie moves.
Second.
And Scott seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0. Okay. You too. That's it. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Bill moves, Ernie seconds. Have a great evening, everyone.
That was like too fast.